a bit of a bounder and a bit of a rotter. I'm not really sure I should have you on this show after all. Tell me, how serious were the protests you got for that part you played?
Well, I didn't really get that many serious protests. I had a few letters saying, I think you should marry the girl, you know, and stuff like that, but nothing really serious. I didn't get people sort of stopping me in the street and saying, you should do it, man, take her to the altar. Anything like that.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you would. But you've got, of course, response of the other kind as well, I expect. You were voted, probably as a result of that, as being the sexiest man of the year, and not for the first time. Now, who voted that?
Well, I was very proud of that award. That was given to me by the readers of the News of the World. And something that I will treasure forever, actually, Michael. But the only problem was I didn't get a prize. I thought perhaps I might get some kind of phallic statuette or a 3-year supply of vitamin E, but...
Well, you wouldn't need either, would you, really? The last time we met was at the Royal Variety Performance. At least we were on the stage, not quite at the same time. And I wondered how you came to play Sinatra and I came to play a baby. That seemed rather unfair.
Well, you look lovely in nappies, Michael.
Said. It was, I mean, you did the Sinatra role.
Yeah, I was very pleased to do that particular piece because High Society was a film that I'd sort of grown up with and I loved, and I'd seen about 7 times when I was a kid, and I'd always sort of fancied myself as a bit Frank Sinatra, you know. And I was very pleased to get that part. In fact, I did it with the original lady who was in the film, Celeste Home.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, but, well, you probably do know because you've done the show, but they really fling that show together very quickly. And Celeste arrived on the Saturday and we were doing the show on the Monday. And we didn't have very much time to rehearse. And so during the interval of the actual show, I had to go and find her, and I went to her dressing room and I walked in and I said to her, I think we should rehearse. And then I looked round and there was Joan Collins and Lauren Bacall there. So I didn't think that was a particularly good idea to rehearse in there. So we actually ended up rehearsing in a toilet, which kind of took the shine off the evening.
You got a nice sound effect in there.
Yeah, oh, you did. It's a bit
yeah. You've done so many musicals. Which was the first you did?
The first musical I did was Hair, back in 1968. That was the show, if you remember, where they had the 4-letter words and the nudity.
Yes.
I was involved in both those things.
Were you nude in that?
Well, actually, I wasn't. I was the only guy in the show who didn't actually take his clothes off. I was the guy in the middle of the stage singing the song when everybody got up and took their clothes off, but no one remembers me.
You didn't take your clothes off. Was this because of your war wound or because of the part didn't require it?
Well, it was actually both, Michael, but we won't go into that. No, it didn't require it. Somebody had to sing a song, and it was actually very artistic when we started up. You know, when we started the show in '69, it was a very beautiful experience for everybody. You know, these shadowy figures would stand up. But as the years went by and people got more used to nudity, the lights became brighter and brighter, till finally I had either side of me 2 people standing there in the nude, you know. It was
yes.
In full spotlight, which was
interesting.
Exciting.
After all those years, it's still exciting. Then Jesus Christ Superstar, I mean, and you played Jesus Christ. Was that an awesome thing to do?
Well, it was a bit of responsibility because it had never been done before. I mean, just the title, Jesus Christ Superstar, was quite risky if you think about it, back in '72. And indeed, we had a lot of people protesting when we first started it, and people were outside saying this shouldn't be done. And so for me, it was a bit awesome, particularly the first time I went up on the cross. It was a very, it sounds like a pun, but it was a very moving experience. To actually go up there and then they played this beautiful music. It was so moving, really. I actually started to cry, and it really upset me. But after about the sort of 10th month of this, it was a bit like going up in the lift in Harrods, really. I really spent most of my time, you know, I was sort of up there like that, and spent most of my time wondering, is this itch on the end of my nose ever going to go?
Yes. And you were tempted to be irreverent as well, I suppose.
Well, yeah, well, there weren't that many laughs in that show, especially for Jesus, where there were no laughs at all. And it really got to me so much that one night I was standing at the edge of the stage and a guy in the front row sneezed and I said, God bless you, my son. I just... The management weren't overly thrilled, but I enjoyed it.
Yes, why not? One of your early jobs, I know, was working for a parliamentary candidate, wasn't it?
Yes, a very important part of my life. I worked for a couple of years with the wonderful MP, Screaming Lord Sutch. I canvassed for him in Nottingham, I remember, handing out leaflets in a leopard skin and peroxide hair. Interesting part of my life.
Yes. What was it like, the act? I mean, what did you do?
Well, basically, he had an act when nobody else had an act. And this was really at the time when people were listening to Cliff Richard and the Shadows. But Such had an act. His whole act was basically based on the fact that he had long hair. He was the first man in this country with really long hair. And at the beginning of his act, he would throw this hat off and expose this mad hair, and everybody would go mad. But I was involved in things. He used to do a number called Jack the Ripper. And I used to play the victims. I used to dress up in a bra and a corset and wear a wig. And I've been doing it ever since. and you know, he used to sort of knife me and things and get sort of real hearts, livers and things out from... It was a really charming evening.
And the audience loved it, of course.
Well, they loved it. But, well, actually, they didn't always love it because they used to get a little violent because they used to see this knife and their heavy rock music. Some of the local lads used to get a little uptight and used to try and sort of storm the stage. So before I went on, everywhere we went, I used to check the escape route, because it was a very dangerous experience.
Yes, I mean, being carried off by one of them until they discovered their mistake. That's the imagine. Did all this inspire you to start your own band?
Well, yes, I did have a band for a short while. I remember we were called The Dreamers, and we did quite well for a while until Freddie and the Dreamers came along, and we had to change our name, and we had like several days thinking about what could we call ourselves, and we came up with a terrific name. We called ourselves The Thoughts. But we weren't really in it for the music, we were really in it for the groupies. That really was the reason that we were doing the whole thing. And we were one of the few bands. Germany was the place where anyone could play. You know, you could go to Germany at the drop of a hat. And we indeed went to Germany and got sent home. Because we just didn't really take the music too seriously, but we had a good time.
Or did this bra you kept wearing all the time?
Well, no, I'd stopped that by then, only in private, by the way.
Of course, you did have your hits in the 70s. There was Heaven on the Seventh Floor and Grandma's Party and stuff like that. Jolly bounce and sing-along stuff. I mean, were you amazed by the success of them?
Well, it was something that I'd always wanted, because having been involved with rock and roll as a young kid, I'd always wanted to have hit records. So I was very pleased. I was very pleased to have those hit records. But I had done some acting before then, and in fact it worked against me, because once I became known as a pop singer, the people in the acting world didn't want to know me. They said, well, what is this guy? He's just a pop singer. So, but I was very happy to have had them, and I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Well, perhaps you haven't got time for all that. Unlike Vince, of course, you actually made it to the altar, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It took me a little time. It took me 15 years, in fact. But I'm glad I went there. I'm glad I made it there. It was a lovely day. I shouldn't say something. No, it was a lovely day, and Lindsay's lovely, and I love you. And
thank you very much.
Not you. Well, I love you too, but I love everyone.
So is Vince missing out? Is that what you're saying?
I think Vince may be missing out, but I don't think he's in any hurry. I mean, it's really not up to me, actually. It's up to the writer, John Sullivan, if he wants to. There is going to be another series at the end of this year, so we'll see. Maybe.
Oh, we should see more of Vince.
Yes, yes.
And you yourself, are you the model husband, house trained?
Oh, I am. Yes, I know now that the wardrobe isn't on the floor. And toothpaste doesn't necessarily have to be hard when it comes out of the tube.
What about your 3 children? You have one daughter.
I have a young daughter, yeah.
Would you let her go out with a Vince?
I don't see why not. I don't have any sort of feelings about that. I mean, she comes home with some very strange guys. The guys come home with these Mohican, yes, yeah. And I figure I'm very liberal. I go out there and I go, how? You know.
He tells you.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't. And I sort of say things like, peace, love, and Harry Fenton, and he goes. But she does come home with some. In fact, my youngest boy Alexander was 4, and we came home one day, and he ran into the living room, and he rushed back out. He said, "Tash is in there, Daddy, with 2 haircuts," which I thought was very sweet, and I said, "It's okay, son. There." 2 haircuts.
Yeah.
Men.
When it comes home, it's a bit worrying, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So apart from Vince, he is returning. What else is coming up for you?
Well, I'm doing a brand new musical in in June at the Victoria Palace, we're doing a brand new production of Charlie Girl. You remember Charlie Girl, that was produced first in 1965 and it ran for 5 years. And we're doing a brand new spanking production of that, so I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks for having the time to spare to join us, Paul Nicholas. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.